Information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Welcome to episode 294 of the HMBT podcast. I'm here with Scott Cohen, the CEO of Inbox Army, where you have a platoon of email experts at your disposal. Ooh. Scott, I really love that you joined me today. I know you and I have had discussions at conferences. I was on your podcast. We had a lot of fun. I think this one's going to be a real gem. I appreciate you being here.
Episode 294. Wow, I'm sitting here going, I've done 16, and it's a struggle. So power to you to keep going, to have that curiosity to keep going. So that's amazing.
Well, I started out doing short tips, and then I would have one a day. Then I went to hour-long videos, then I took a hiatus. Then I got back to it, then I took a hiatus. And you're the second guest after my, I don't know how many month-long hiatus. And I think that we're going to bring the value to the subscribers. I want to bring them all back into the fold, just like you do with email marketing, right? We're doing a re-engagement campaign for the HMBT podcast.
There you go. There you go. You got to give them something different, something that's outside of what you normally send them. Quick tip on re-engagement. Don't just keep sending the same stuff.
You're an email practitioner in a different way. In other words, you have your own brand, and obviously you do that, but you work with clients, or you manage people that work with clients. Mm-hmm. A question I want to ask you is, what do you think is the largest challenge that you see your clients or anybody in general when it comes to email marketing? Like, what is the biggest challenge you think they have overall?
Ooh. I would say one of them is getting outside of the promotional drug, because everyone just looks at email and goes, oh, it's just offers. It's just offers. And so getting off of I call it a drug because it's very easy to just send another email, send another email, send another offer. And you have folks who, we even have some clients who they send every single day, or they send 4 times a week. And we kind of go, you don't have to. You probably don't have to. But every time you send an email, you make money, right? I mean, I keep saying the reason spam's still around is because it works. It shouldn't, but it works. And it's so cheap to send an email. It doesn't take a lot of revenue for it to pay for itself. So I think getting off of the promotional drug is probably the biggest, and being able to shift certain things into automations. Like, you have clients who will send 4 emails a week in promotions and forget things like a cart abandon or a welcome series, or we just talked about re-engagement or win back, or do they offer subscription and they promote subscription, but do they have any of the emails that power the subscription process? So yes, promotions are important. It's probably 80% of the work and like 20 to 30% of revenue if you're doing things right. So it's all on its head.
So what would be, like, say, the top 3 things to add into that? Because people could be reading into this and saying promotions as in like always selling, but you mentioned abandoned cart, because there's other things other than like promotion that you can include, like abandoned cart and other things. What do you think are the top 3 things, if I am just focused on promotions, that I should be doing?
Well, if you're focused on promotions and you have e-com and you don't have cart abandon is number 1. Now, I always like to say Q4, which I don't know how long it's going to be between when we record and when this goes live, but we are on the precipice of Q4 here, and that is obviously email's Super Bowl. But cart abandon, number 1 thing you have to get into place. That and a welcome series, right? Somebody signs up for more information, get a welcome email, get a series of emails. If you're offering an incentive of some sort to sign up, obviously deliver it, but there's a lot of introductory, I call them reasons to believe, that you need to deliver in welcomes. And promotions, you can use promotional cadence to deliver education. You can use promotional cadence to deliver product features and value. I think promotion is very much, people will get to it when they're ready for it, and it's good to have it. I mean, email is an ad impression. It is a touch point there, that just being in the inbox, there is enough there that there's value in being there. But you don't just have to lead off with 10% off, 20% off, 30% off. I've done many emails successfully where it's like, here's why this is amazing for you. By the way, it's 30% off. And you can bury the lead a little bit,
Yeah.
right? You can bury the offer at the bottom. People will scroll for it if they're interested and they're ready to buy. But for the people that may have been on the fence and the offers aren't enough, they can go, "Oh, there's the value I want for me. Oh, cool, it's on discount." Or, "Oh, cool, maybe they don't need discount."
Right.
But cart abandon's a big thing. Welcome's a big thing. Um, your post purchase, right? If you're selling something online that needs to be delivered via UPS, FedEx, the post office, whatever it might be, there's going to be a gap between. Not everybody is Amazon, where I can order it this morning and get it this afternoon, because where I live in Salt Lake City, huge distribution center in Salt Lake City, I get things very fast with Amazon. But not everybody lives in those areas, so there's always a gap. So you gotta. When do you feel the most insecure about a purchase you just made? When you haven't gotten it yet. So you got to communicate in those times and go, here's what's coming. Here's how to get ready. Here's how to
Have to have that shipping number.
maximize
If
it.
I don't get
You
that
got to
shipping
have that
number, that
shipping
link,
number.
yeah, I'm going to be freaking out
And you
until I
know
do.
what? I've always kind of, my wife has looked at this as like, it's over communication. I don't need to know when it's shipped and then when it's coming tomorrow and then when
Oh
it's
my
out for
God.
delivery. And I go, but you know what? We work from home, so we can just go pick it up. There are people who leave their houses. They would probably like to know it's sitting on their front porch so that if they get home and it's not sitting on their front porch, either somebody else in the house picked it up or it got stolen. Or in
Yeah.
some cases, it went to the wrong house. I mean, I have a very similar address to the fire station down the
Oh,
street.
wow.
I've gotten deliveries for the fire station from Amazon because they haven't figured out it's a different address. It's the same house number, different address. I had to stop the guy from dropping 16 mattresses on my front door because I didn't order mattresses. He goes, "Well, it's for this." I'm like, "I think that's the fire station down the street, bro." But yeah, those
I
are the
wake
big
up.
three, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those are the big three. First hand raise, cart abandon to get people to come back, because how many times have you been shopping for something, put something in a cart and just flat out forgot about it?
Hmm.
And or your boss walks in and you hide it, or oh, maybe I shouldn't do it, or and this is why you shouldn't do an offer too early in cart abandon. You're waiting for an offer. But you do catch people.
Yes.
And Q4, especially Black Friday, is like cart abandon heaven, right? People are, their wallets are open, get that money.
I roll over in the morning, and not only do I, first thing I do is check email and other things, which a lot of people still do. I think the statistic might still be 80% of people check it, email within 15 minutes of waking up, which is I don't know if that's still the same. It might have went down a little bit, but yeah, I'm checking for those tracking numbers, and that's actually my Twitter bio. It says I buy things just to track them. So I have like this disease of shopping, and it's more about the tracking than receiving the item. It's following it and getting excited for the day that it comes.
Amazon added I don't know if you've probably noticed this because you're a tracking freak, but every so often they'll send me an app notification. It's like, we're 10 stops away.
Yep.
And then so I pull up and go, oh, it's 6 stops away. Oh, it's 4 stops away, and things like that. But I don't do that religiously. It's just
Yeah.
fun when if I'm waiting for something in particular, it'll be, oh wait, they're 4 stops away. Everybody chill out.
I've seen it once where it said it's 2 stops away and it was in my neighborhood. And then all of a sudden it went like 15 miles away. And I was like, uh-oh, they skipped me. But they came all the way back and delivered. He must have forgot about it or something because it was interesting.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, hold on, that's my truck.
Yeah. And getting back to not always having promotions, I feel like almost every email, with the exception of transactional, should be either educational, informative,
Mhm.
or it should entertain you in some way. And you mentioned like, talking about the product and product features, or maybe a review or something like that, or talking about the company and what you do in a community, those types of things. Those are things you can sprinkle in to help add value or tell a story in an email, and it makes it more engaging and keeps people coming back for more. Next question.
100%. I mean, it's a lot more people shop for value, like what the values are for the company and everything else. We have so many choices,
Yes.
right? As consumers, it's not hard to get choice. And so you have to, I mean, it's a rare thing to find this is the only company that makes this type of product.
Hmm.
So how do you differentiate yourself? And you can differentiate yourself. What was the old adage? You can be first, or you can be better, or you can be cheaper, right? But those aren't enough anymore. You've got to
Yeah.
be better and believe in something, or cheaper and whatever it might be. But people need that. Oh, it's like I could buy a hot dog from anywhere, but I buy a hot dog from these guys because they give 10 cents to charity for every hot dog they sell. I'm just
Yep.
making it up. But that's the type of stuff you should promote. I mean, why are Bombas $18 a pair of socks? Because you're also paying for the second pair,
Yep.
right? But they appeal to the altruistic side of people, and people, they just lap that stuff up. So don't be afraid.
And there's not many cheap things out there anymore because cheap things are
No.
expensive.
Yes, what's the my VP likes to say there's cost and then there's price, and those are two different things. And yeah, it can be cheap, but you might have to buy them like every month.
Yeah.
So, quality, but then you have to sell up, hey, yeah, it's an $18 pair of socks, but here's why it's $18. Quality, and oh, by the way, charity, right? So they sell a good story.
All right, Scott, let's get personal here. What do you love the most about email marketing?
I love the feedback loop. When
Interesting.
I started my career, I was writing ads for television and radio. I was a copywriter when I first started. And local TV ads and local radio ads, unless somebody magically dialed the phone number that you put on the ad, the only insights and feedback you got were anecdotal. Hey, I saw that ad. Hey, I saw this. Or the client would call you and go, hey, it must be working because we're getting a ton of traffic, right? But it was you never had anything go out that you could go, I know it's working immediately, or it's not working immediately. So when I started writing emails, and then ultimately the classic, hey, you're writing them, why don't you do them? And that was 2008. And here I am 17 years later, still doing this. But that feedback loop, right now, granted, I've given a whole presentation on my last click attribution is the worst and blah, 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 blah. But you get that feedback, you get those opens nebulously now. You get those clicks, you get that feedback, you get that you have a pretty good idea of what's working and what's not working. And that I've always loved. It appeals, like I have that creative side from being a writer and everything else, but I have that numbers side that goes, I can be as creative as I want, but if it doesn't make any money, who cares? Right. And I'm not an author. I'm not a book author. I don't write just for me. Or if I do, I don't expect money out of that. I'm a businessman. I make money off of success. So having that feedback, I love being able to. Now, do I know why certain things worked? Not all the time, or why they don't work, or it's like, why do Tuesdays suck? Well, maybe it was just this Tuesday that sucked. But I've always been fascinated and in love with the fact that I can put something out there and I know I'll have an idea of whether it did what it was supposed to do. And if it doesn't, I can go into fix mode. And that's what I keep coming back. And tangential to that, the email industry is filled with some of the best people on the planet. I think we all walk around with a little chip on our shoulders because we've all heard, it's just email. But just so many amazing people across, and there's so many disciplines, right? I mean, email,
Mhm.
you've got design, you've got code, you've got strategy, you've got platform work, you've got all this stuff. And I don't get bored.
I love that last part. Yeah, it's. I want to say it's different every day. Everybody says email's the same, but it's different every day.
Different every day.
And then, you talk about, I guess feedback loops and measuring. I know things are changing, like opens and clicks aren't what they used to be, but it's still signals that you're receiving to see if your email campaigns are doing good because there'll be somebody that might make a comment saying, well, opens are dead and, clicks, they're still bots, but it's still signals. You can see if it's going up or down. You can theoretically filter those out and yeah, look at your metrics, make sure you're doing well. Don't just spray and pray, right? That's a term we hate in this industry.
Yeah, I didn't fully get it my first few years. And then when I finally worked for an organization that had a healthy respect for it, that the first time I knew they had a healthy respect was when one of the FP&A guys came up to me and he said, "Numbers are low today. Did you guys send out email? And I said, it was like right before a holiday or something. I said, no, we're not sending today. We're going to send in a couple days. And he goes, oh, that's why. And he just walked off. And I went, oh, they get it. Like we drive the traffic, we drive all these things, even if it's not direct attribution, they know, hey, when email goes out the door, this is the spike we expect on those
Mm-hmm.
days. And I went, they get it. And I always love that because then on the normal days when things were down, we're going, what in the hell is going on? And we would dive into it and we would fix it. But that's that's the thing. And I think email marketers can sometimes undersell their impact to other channels as well.
Mm-hmm.
I talk a lot about email is the backstop for paid social, for paid media, for all those acquisition drivers. They got to land somewhere. And most acquisition people are like, I'm just worried about the sale. And I'm going, it's sale and subscription because somebody may not be ready or they are, but they want that little bit of extra discount. Because my old boss used to say, yeah, nobody's buying from you until they're screwing you. And I've always had that in the back of my head. It's like, of course, people are going to wait for a discount. Why pay full price when they don't have to?
Yeah. But they sometimes give up if they can't find or don't receive that discount. If they want it bad enough, they're going to do it. I used to
Exactly.
always do coupon code searches, back before like Chat GPT and everything, and I would try them all and they wouldn't, and then finally you'd figure out none of them work. I guess I got to pay full price.
Retail me not.
Uh, all right. Let's look into the future. Let's
Mm.
put the crystal ball in front of you. Where do you see email marketing going in the next 5 years? What changes do you see coming?
Um, as an email marketer, it's hard to say this, but as its own channel, I think attribution will continue to drop because there's so many channels to leech it from, right? But email marketers should own SMS, they should own RCS, they should own push, they should own WhatsApp, they should own all of those owned channels, right? For the people who
Hmm.
opt in to receive information. So email will become less of a standalone, but as long as it's the paper trail for all of our online stuff, I mean, can you imagine getting a Snapchat with a receipt?
You better
Can
save
you
that really
imagine
quick.
getting a can you imagine getting a reset password request in TikTok? So email greases the wheels in a lot of areas that people just forget about,
Hmm.
but the email marketers don't because they control it.
Yes.
Sometimes it's IT because it's a separate instance of
Yeah.
something. But email marketers should really own all of that and become really what CRM marketing was supposed to be 10 years ago. And we conflated that with CRM means Salesforce. And it's like, no, I've worked in jobs where I've been a CRM manager that meant email and SMS and push because we do own the customer data. We do
Yes.
know where all that stuff is. And again, that backstop for the other channels, right? So I think that'll continue, but the attribution will start to spread out
Right.
between all of those owned channels, which is a good thing. Obviously, SMS is super expensive. WhatsApp taking hold here in the States a lot more than, I mean, it's huge overseas. And I think it's at 100 million or something, 150
Wow.
million users now, but it hasn't quite picked up as a marketing channel in quite the same capacity. I believe that's cheaper than SMS. Um, I'm glad that push in terms of app, we're past the point where, what was it, 10 years ago, where it's like everybody should have an app. It's like, what does it do? Oh, it just pops up the website. Then why do you have an app? What does it do differently than your website? People are learning apps should be intentional, which is good.
Hmm.
But email will still have its place. I mean, it's been around for 50 years for a reason, right? It's
Yeah.
still, but really, and it's been a marketing channel for what, the last 25? It wasn't really a marketing channel pre 2000, a little bit, but not a ton. Um, it'll still function like the post purchase, those reset passwords. Yes, it'll be email and, right? It'll be email
Hmm.
and SMS. It'll be email and push. It'll be email and WhatsApp. It'll be all of those things, but email will still be that core, but it may not. We may find that the $36 ROI or the $42 ROI might drop. Now, for some brands out there, it's already lower than that. I worked at a brand where because we sold $3,000 mattresses, I had a $437 ROI on email because we sold $3,000 mattresses. So, and they're now eight and $10,000 mattresses. There you go. But it's going to evolve. But I still see, I think the function, that CRM function, is going to become even more important because it's about that data. It's about, I mean, the whole premise behind AI is to get analysis quicker, to get that sort of piece, those pieces quicker. And I think we are, and I think we will. Um, but there's still going to be room for gray hairs like us, Hank, because, at some point, somebody's actually going to need to know how some of these things work and not just rely on AI. And it's going to be like the old guy at the car repair shop is like, I don't know how to fix an 87 Audi. I do, like there's going to be space for us.
Yeah. And I love how you say, they should work together and have, you know, common touch points because I think if you break down the silos, because right now sometimes different teams manage all these things and they don't share the data. Because if you could find out what channel somebody prefers to get something on, maybe it is WhatsApp, but maybe they do check email every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can start engaging with them a little bit more on WhatsApp, but still give them that email every now and then. And please, please, if you're somebody that shares the same promotion, going back to promotions on every single channel, 20% off, you're just diluting your marketing. Where you should choose one channel, let's say it's email, that has the either you get it first there or it's the best deal, right? And then it'll be a little bit different or delayed on the other channels where most people just say 20% off on, and it'll be on Facebook, it'll be on LinkedIn, it'll be on it'll be everywhere in emails, in SMS. It's just the same deal, and whatever one they see first is what they use, and it's causing issues for your data.
Yeah. And I think you need to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of each channel, right? That the power behind email is that it can be both urgent but asynchronous, right? Because the freaks like us who check email every 10 minutes or whenever, the reason I don't have notifications is because I'm a notification zero type person. I'm not necessarily, well, I am sort of an inbox zero, but I'm more like delete or read. I'm not, my filing system sucks. Let's put it that way. Because I rely on search for everything. But SMS, WhatsApp, there's urgency, right? It interrupts the day. Push interrupts the day.
Hmm.
Email doesn't have to. Email is there. Yes, you can drive urgency, absolutely. But you could go email in the morning, 20% off, because it's the deal, it's the site deal, right? Everybody's going to talk about the Labor Day sale or the Black Friday sale or the Memorial Day sale or whatever. But your SMS can drive urgency. Hey, final hours. And it might drive
There you
better
go.
urgency because it's so interruptive, right? Because people look at SMS and go, I want this done, right? Oh, let me read this. And then they're more likely, like people who sign up for SMS in my previous life, they were about 30% of the audience compared to email subscribes. And this was a few years ago. So the percentage would obviously change, but they were three times as likely to convert because they were saying, yes, interrupt me.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you have that, people are willing to do that. And let's be fair, if you're doing 10% off for email and then, hey, give us your SMS and we'll do 15% off, check how many of those folks stick around, especially on your SMS opt in,
Yeah.
because they probably just wanted the extra 5%. Let's be fair.
Then you
We're all
stop.
human.
Yeah.
We
Then you
want the
stop
extra
engaging with the
5%.
SMS. Yeah.
But you have to realize, that's what you have to realize, right? Like Facebook is really, really, really good for acquisition, right? Because email is not an acquisition channel. Because when I consider acquisition, I consider they haven't raised their hand officially.
Hmm.
Means they aren't subscribed, they haven't made a purchase, anything like that. So we're talking about cold email, which I will argue to death that people should not do. Now,
Don't do it.
granted, B2B, it's hard and blah, 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 but we try to avoid it. And plus, outside of the States, it's largely illegal. Um, but, but Facebook, you're driving awareness and you're driving signups and you're driving that first purchase. Once they sign up for something, obviously email can take them to the next level, give them that education that a Facebook ad won't, or a Meta ad won't, or a TikTok whatever won't, right? So you have to recognize the different strengths. I know what social is capable of. It's also expensive. One of the things that if you really want to get, this is sort of higher level, but one of the last things I did at my previous life was I literally did a year over year analysis of conversion to first purchase by source of entry. So
Hmm.
if they came in through organic, if they came in through organic search or direct or paid social and like Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Like I went through those and went, yeah, we're spending all of this money on these acquisition channels that do not convert. They converted at half the rate. So now, granted, every business is going to be different, but that's a really good analysis to do. Is yeah, you're driving traffic. Yeah, you might drive some first purchases, but what's your cost per acquisition? And what is your conversion rate from if they've just signed up for something for email? Like, that's sort of the fail safe. If they don't convert or they convert at half the rate, you can go, wow, we could spend this money. And because paid search did really well and they were pulling money out of paid search to go to Facebook. And it's like, yeah, you're getting all this attention on Facebook. They don't convert.
Hmm.
They don't convert. So, and that's the other thing I love about email is you have all that data and you can find out what works and what doesn't.
That's
Call
right.
back.
Yeah. You can fail fast. You can dive in deeper and
Yeah.
figure it out with the numbers. My system for checking email is I either act on it right away, I delete it, or I snooze it to
Oh,
come back to it later. Because I'll forget
yeah.
about it. Like if it keeps
Uh,
getting buried, I just snooze it so it comes back 3 days, a week, or whatever.
I don't snooze, although that's a good idea. I definitely will star something if I want to come back to it in Gmail.
Those are
But
the
it's either
tracking
delete,
numbers I
delete,
need to
delete,
make
delete,
sure
delete,
I'm
delete, delete,
tracking.
delete, star, right? Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes I'll go into my phone and go remind me to do this. So,
This is going to be a tough and painful question for you. This is one
mm.
I actually asked at MailCon to a bunch of people, and I thought it was really great because what do people always ask? Like, what do you like about email? What makes email so powerful? But Scott, if the death of email marketing that everybody keeps saying is dying actually happened next week, and you can no longer use email marketing, it's off the table, it's dead, can't touch it. What is your next marketing channel of choice that you would double down on?
Oh, wow. Um, I think that speaks to why email won't go away. But if I had to choose SMS,
Okay, I like
it's
it.
the weakness of SMS. Well, to be fair, you can send a text as long as you want it to be. You just have to pay through the nose for it, right? All those
Right.
lovely segments stack up. And if you're at scale, it gets wicked expensive. But I would say SMS and WhatsApp, depending
Okay.
on where you
Okay.
are. But that sort of texting channel, it's not, it has more interruptibility, of course, but you're not beholden to an algorithm necessarily. There are some delivery mechanisms that can get in the way, but you're not beholden to algorithms and you're not beholden to having to have an app like you would with push, right? I mean, and then you'd have to get people to download the app, then stay with the app. So there's some barriers of entry to push that you don't necessarily have with SMS or WhatsApp. Um, and it doesn't go away, right? So I mean, unless they delete it, like you can delete SMS, you can delete email, all that stuff, but it doesn't go away. So it sits there. So that's why I choose those two, SMS and WhatsApp, is because it's still an owned channel. It's an opt-in channel. It's permission based, and the I think people underestimate the algorithm piece as well, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, you can spend all that money and get in front of people, and God knows my phone listens to me. They nobody will ever admit out loud that that's what happens. But when you start talking about one thing, and the next thing you know, you get into Instagram, and that's every ad for 10 minutes. You go, okay, yeah, they're listening to me. Um, but you're still beholden to an algorithm and still
Mhm.
beholden to somebody else decide. I mean, deliverability to a certain extent, there's a bouncer, as I like to say, but people are asking for it. Whereas in Instagram, people are not. TikTok, people are not. So give me an own channel any day of the week. Sneaky third answer, direct mail.
It's making a comeback, I hear.
It's back. It's back. It's been back for a few years because you used to be like,
Yeah,
I don't
people are
want to
sick of
check
the
the
digital,
mail.
right? They're happy to
Yeah,
hold something in
yeah,
their hand.
yeah. It's flipped over, right? So yes, price obviously price is a consideration there, but there are platforms out there that can help you do programmatic and cold mailing and things like that. It's also really good from a CRM perspective to stand out against all the email and everything. But yeah, SMS and WhatsApp, and then direct mail because again, data driven.
If I hear you correctly, you're saying that there's not one channel or one option that can take the place of email. It takes three.
Yeah, it does. And even then, they all work together, right? So, I mean, email, it's hard. It's easy to do email, but hard to do email well and hard to do email right. So, it's that I think that in combination with the fact that it's so cheap compared to other channels, that's why email has such a hard time getting the respect it deserves until something unfortunately like COVID happens and everybody goes, email is amazing again. It's like everybody settle down. But that maybe that's why it's probably why I have a chip on my shoulder, right? You know, it's like, oh, it's just email. I've been hearing it for years. Guys, you love the email that I would send you.
Right.
It's just not all that other crap.
And I'm not sure why you used mattresses as an example earlier, because now I know I'm going to get ads for mattresses after we get done with
I worked
this
for a mattress
episode.
company, Hank. I'm sorry. You know, but yes, mattresses, mattresses,
Right.
mattresses.
All right. With all that being said, Scott, how can people find you, get in touch with you, ask you the hard questions like I just did, and more importantly, tell us a little bit about Inbox Army and what you do for your customers?
Absolutely. So Inbox Army, I'll start there. It's inboxarmy.com. We are a full service email marketing and lifecycle marketing agency. We help anything to do with email. So strategy, copy, design, code, platform management, you name it, we do it. We do some deliverability help as well. And we do SMS and WhatsApp and push too. So if you need somebody to activate all those things that are sitting in your brain, or for the love of God, if you're a CEO sending stuff for yourself, give us, check us out, inboxarmy.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Scott Cohen 13. Feel free to connect with me, send me questions, do whatever. I'm a bona fide email nerd, and you can probably ask me about hockey and football as well if you want, and golf. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
I had the pleasure of meeting George Pettigrew, who works with you and for you, and he does email design. We had a really great discussion, and he was talking about the things that like people don't even pay attention to, like line height when it comes to text. And I was like, I never
It's such a,
thought of
you
that,
think it's
but it
such a small
yes.
thing, and it's so important.
So that's why it's good to have an army on your side with Inbox Army. And folks, don't forget about Kickbox. They always support this show. You can use the code HMBT and get 5,000 free credits for email validation just by listening to this show and putting up with me and all the questions I ask. But Scott, it was a pleasure having you. It was a really great discussion. And hopefully we can have you back on down the road.
Absolutely, Hank. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, everybody.